Thank you very much. Good afternoon to everybody. On this affirmative action webinar, the CII had organized an action program in Delhi about a couple of months back, and therein I had presented my views on affirmative action. Probably CII liked it, and they have again called me for this webinar on affirmative action. As far as we at Dalit Indian Chamber of Commerce and Industries are concerned, affirmative action means positive discrimination. Before we start into the affirmative action, the means and do's of that, let me just introduce you to the mission of DICCI, because of which I have got this opportunity to share my views on affirmative action. As you can see on your screen, all the mission symbols are in a positive state. It is to develop business leadership, even though among the part of the Indian society, which is at the moment we can call it as a depressed or as not so in the mainstream of the economic growth of the country. The youths among the Dalits are fighting a dual battle. One, obviously, because of their social standing, which has brought in, over a period of time, certain kind of complexes within them because of the lack of opportunities that they could see being offered by society in general. So when we are trying to motivate this youth, Dalit youth, to be entrepreneurs, we are fighting again a dual battle. One is trying to push positive sense into them and then supporting them in raising and creating their enterprises. The basic job that we are doing as of now is in terms of policy intervention. We are talking with various government bodies, we are talking with central government, we are in dialogue with various state governments and trying to put forth that entrepreneurship is a way out for Dalit youth in terms of their economic growth. And I am very happy to share with you that the government bodies and government themselves are looking at this as a positive step. Last year in the budget they announced certain steps. I am talking about the central government in terms of the public procurement policy. Various state governments have also come up with various schemes in terms of supporting Dalit entrepreneurship, and it's moving in a positive direction. And because of this development, this motivation and rise of entrepreneurship amongst the Dalit communities and especially the youths of Dalit, the nation is going to be benefited because this youth, we are asking them to contribute. We are today telling them that become a giver to the society by creating wealth. So this is the major mission of DICCI. And I'm proud to say that we have got positive feedback both from the society in general and the government in particular. When DICCI is targeting and the societal part, we have concentrated on youth. And what we have demarcated or segregated the youth in terms of the position that they are there in the education sector. Yes, there are lots of people who are outside the education sector in the sense they are not getting the opportunity like you and I have got the opportunity to be educated. I agree with that, but we are working on the set which has taken that trouble to get into the schooling system, to the education system, and they are going up. Now the first and the topmost segment of this is people who have graduated and they are contributing. We will not get into the picture whether they are contributing as an employee or as an entrepreneur, or whether they have got the full employment or they are as a disguised, they have a disguised employment. We are leaving at that. These people have graduated from various institutes and they are contributing to the national wealth. The second segment is who have graduated but who are not contributing. Not contributing in the sense they do not either have an employment, or they are not self-employed, or they are not part of an enterprise. This is the band of youth that we are very much interested in, we are worried about, and as you would also appreciate that a highly useful mind, a highly useful hand, if it does not have work, it's going to be a problem not only for the society but also for all of us who are entrepreneurs or who have our enterprises. These are the band of youths who, if we do not provide them the work, and if we do not provide them a goal, if we do not provide them some kind of a motivation to make good of their life, they are and will be creating problems. The third stage of the youth is that which is in the part of graduation. They are either from the first year of graduation to the third or fourth year of graduation, whichever stream that they are studying. Then there is high school and middle school, and finally the primary section. The color differentiation, the stages which are in yellow, are the stages that the key is targeting. The way Dickey looks at it is that the graduated and non-contributing, we can provide them either employment or we can train them to be entrepreneurs and help them in setting their own enterprises. Various institutes are there, various bodies, government bodies also have come out and say that there is a very peculiar situation in India today, that the corporates are needing people. They want hands, they want human resource. The human resources in terms of the educated youth is available, but most of the corporates are saying that those educated youth are not employed. There is a certain lack of capabilities amongst this graduated youth. We are not talking about just the Dalit youth, but youth, Indian youth in general. And that's the reason that the Prime Minister also had created a special purpose vehicle or special team on skill development. There is a National Skill Development Corporation which has been created to take care of the so-called skill gap that is there between the available graduate pool and the requirement of the corporates. Various agencies have come forward and they have tried to assess the gap, the skill gap that is there between the graduate youth and the need of the corporate segment. One such requirement amongst the fast-growing segment, that is within the financial sector, that's the banking, financial, securities and insurance segment. Under Bombay Stock Exchange leadership, a group has been formed which has presented its requirement of way forward of creating skill-based training to meet the skill gap amongst the graduate youth and to make them employable in the BFSI segment. I am part of that particular activity that is going on. Herein what we have done as a group is that we have identified what are the minimal skills that are needed for certain roles, which are the entry-level roles in the BFSI segment. And what is that our university education is offering to the graduate, and what is the final product of our university system. The gap between the two is being assessed, analyzed, and then it is being tried it is being met by creating various programs. Now, this is a long drawn process that is being put in to ensure that the people who have stepped out of the university gates, that they become an employable youth. But these people, these students who have moved out of the university gates are very difficult to be again pinpointed and move towards the learning stream. It is their own self motivation that will move them towards getting, or rather enhancing their skill sets and trying to become employed. So what Dickey is determining is that the youth which is within the graduation stage, that is the youth which is there within the colleges, that the youth which is there inside the university premises, they should be provided the necessary skill development. This is the view of Dickey, and we are working on that. And hence, the target of us, the phase 1 that Dickey is working on, is more on the graduated and non-contributing and the people who are there within the graduation stage. Once we have completed this phase, then we will move towards this second phase, which is addressing the primary education. Both, and the most important, by providing access to education, because as you are all aware that not everybody in this country is lucky enough like you and me that they can have access to education. So first and foremost in our phase 2 will be to work on access to education, and once we have a reasonable access, then we can look for the quality of the education. The phases that I was just talking about have been given some timeline. From this year till 2020, our phase 1 will be operating, and in that, in the graduated and non-contributing segment, we are only concentrating on entrepreneurship. We are not concentrating on the employment factor out here. In the entrepreneurship segment, what we have been able to do is that through policy intervention, we have asked government to create a set-off. If you are aware, in the last budget, a 20% set-off has been done in all public procurement of central government, that is in the ministries of central government, in the public sector enterprises of the central government and departments of the central government. 20% procurement has been made mandatory from the small and medium enterprises. A further set-off of 20%, so 20% of 20%, which is 4%, set-off has been done for Dalit SMEs. So we have created a kind of a market which was not available there, especially for Dalit SME entrepreneurs. So 4% procurement set-off in all government purchases has been done. We are asking state governments to take the leaf out from the central government's book and adopt the same policies. Now this has been adopted in the budget. The Government of India order came in May. There are certain lacunas in the order. We are working out with the government, but over a period of time, I think this will work out very well and will also support and help Dalit youth to start their entrepreneurship. The second stage that we are working on is on access to finance. You all are aware that our financial system, the legacy financial system that we have in our country, is a collateral-driven financial system, wherein when you walk in to take a loan, they ask for collateral. Yes, there are various schemes up to 1 crore. You do not need under the CGMSA scheme. You do not need any collateral, but those schemes have not been popularized. Now, this is not the problem which is only faced by Dalit. It is faced by each and every first-time entrepreneur. But the problems for the Dalit youths are slightly more aggravated. Number one is because of their financial conditions, they over a period of time, no collateral, they have not created any system wherein which or any asset which they could offer as a collateral. Secondly, there is a bias. When you write an application, you have to give your address. The address spells out, in most cases, it spells out where the location or rather the kind of population that would be living in that particular address. Most of the time, if the address is a slum-driven address, then the people can make out the background of the applicant, and biases come into play, and finances have been declined. We have seen that happen in the past. So what we are now talking with government is that the CGTMSI scheme that is being offered as a collateral-free lending through the financial system, through our financial system, a part of that should be earmarked for Dalit youth. We are taking out data because this scheme has been running for about 2 decades now, and we are taking out data to find out what percentage of the applicants fall under the Dalit segment. So this is what we are trying to assess now, and we have given a presentation to Finance Ministry, and we hope of some certain positive response from the Ministry. The one more step that what we have taken is, instead of just relying on the government aid in terms of finance, BK itself has proposed to create an SME fund. And I'm glad to say that SEBI has approved the fund. The fund corpus is, the fund size is of 500 crore rupees. And we are at a stage wherein we are trying to fill the gaps in terms of funding. What this SME fund will do is it will identify the Dalit, rather the members of DICKI. From the membership of DICKI, it will identify those companies in the SME sector which are well managed, which are professionally managed, which are in the sunrise segment, and which are doing, which have the capability to scale up. Then we will invest. The DICKI SME fund will invest as an equity participation into them and try to make them big. Now this corporates or these companies which are invested by the DICKI SME fund will become as a role model, as a harbinger, and as a flagship ventures which will be recognized by the Dalit youth, and then it will motivate them that if one Dalit youth can create a wonderful company, then why not me? Policy intervention, as I said before, is the basic approach that we are taking in. The second and the most important work that we are DICKI is targeting is the skill development exercise. As I said, we, instead of targeting the people who have graduated out of the system, we are targeting the people who are within the system of being graduated. What we have done is we have created a Dalit skill development company. The basic work that we are doing is assessing the skill gap. Now herein what we are doing, because there is always a talk that the Dalit youth lack. They lag behind, they lack certain skill sets. Now always these terms are used in a qualitative way. Everybody comes up and say, oh, this person, the Dalit youth is not up to the mark. But what is that? Given the average youth, Indian youth, whose skill gap has been analyzed by various agencies over the past 3-4 years, we are taking that as a benchmark. So whatever skill is available to the general Indian youth, or whatever their skill levels are, that are taken as a benchmark. And against that benchmark, we are trying to assess what are the skill gaps, if there are any, between the Dalit youth and the general youth. Once that is set up, and if we find that yes, there is a necessity, obviously there are certain things that we can over a period of time say, yes, like all other the general youth, the soft skills are the gap that has to be met. English speaking, yes, that is a gap to be met. But on the other side also, we have what we have found is that the interpersonal relationship skills, the negotiating skills in their own language, in their mother tongue, are far better among the Dalit youth rather than the compared to the general youth. These two, so there are this positives and negatives that we are finding it out. The work is in progress. By this year end, I think we should be able to identify the Dalit skill capabilities on certain important segments. That is the BFSI. One is the BFSI segment, and the other is on the to work as in a BPO and in a IT company. So these are the three segments that I think we should be able to cover by 2013. Post all these activities are done in 2020, we will move on to access to education and quality of education. And I must say that the approaches taken by the Bharti Foundation as of now, by the Azim Premji Foundations, are the approaches that are in the right direction on the primary segment side. This was the general topic. Till now, what we have spoken is in terms of what decays approaches, or what in general the approach for affirmative action should be. In my company, what I have done in terms of taking a leaf out of the decays approach is that if people approach me to become distributors, and if they are Dalit youth, like we had one example running in New Bombay, wherein three Dalit youths came together. All three of them had a background in food technologies, and they were working in various food companies. They came together and they thought of starting their own enterprise in terms of food distribution companies. They approached me to become a distributor. Normally, for giving a distribution ship, I charge an amount, but for this youth, for this group of youth, I did not charge them any amount. So my distributorship was given to them. I won't say free, because I don't believe in giving anything free, as the people do not value it. It was built, the amount was built in, that the distribution charges that they had to pay to me was built in over a period of time. So the first consignment that went through me to them was on a loan basis. And then there was a handholding in terms of how to do the marketing for my products, how to present themselves on my product, what are the key competitive benefits of my product compared to the competitors. So all that was, those training was given to them free of cost. The first consignment was given a loan to them, and I'm happy to say that they have established themselves, they are helping me out, and they have turned out to be a great partner. Similarly, on the other, looking at the success of theirs, because of Dicky, then some people in Hyderabad also have approached me that they want to start the distribution system. But herein the advantage was that one of them was a distributor earlier also. So here also I have followed the same system, wherein my first consignment has gone to them free. The distribution charges that has to be paid upfront will be paid over a period of time. The second thing that I do is, we just spoke, that the access to finance for Dalit entrepreneurs, especially who are there in tier 3, tier tier 4 towns, it's slightly difficult. So here what my company does is that if any Dalit entrepreneur comes forward to put up any establishment in the food segment, then we support them in creating their detailed project report. We support them or rather we become like a linkage with the financial system with them. We give assurance to the financial institute that this person will stand by, and we will be on behalf of the financial institution, we will take care that the new company that has been formed by the Dalit youth follows their norm, they follow the financial discipline. So we act as a linkage between the new entrepreneur and the financial system. And the third role that we have is in terms of a mentorship. Anybody can approach us, and they do approach me. One, because of the Dickie's background, and second, now because of Dickie and being part of the Nagpur chapter, people are aware that I have a company. So they do come, they talk, various sessions are held, and wherever possible, we are there in terms of providing mentorship. So currently, on the entrepreneurship side, if you ask me, we have supported the Dalit youth in becoming distributors. Also on the vendor side, if I find that the quality is being made, the price is supportive, and also there is a discipline in terms of supply, then a positive discrimination is being made in my company, wherein Dalit youths are encouraged to become a supplier. In terms of employees, now as you would be aware that most of the food industries, the majority of the employees are women. So to start with, I should say a positive discrimination in the gender diversity also. The location of my factory is such that around 60% and more are the people who reside in and around that factory, or the villages in and around the factory belong to the Dalit community. So more or less about 70 to 75% of the women worker that I have in my factory also belong to the Dalit segment. So on all the sides, that the employee side, the vendorship side, employee side, by default I have got the gender diversity and the positive discrimination. On the vendor side, we are moving for the affirmative action, but ensuring that the quality standards, both in terms of the product quality and pricing, and the discipline for supply is not compromised. And on the forward linkages side, on creating distributors and forward chain for my company, we are looking for those youths who are coming on their own and asking for support. We are supporting them. This slide is not support from CII in the sense from the Confederation of Indian Industry, but I am talking about support from the members of CII. In the affirmative action role of, in their role and as a part of the policy of CII, the CII members can either support directly by creating partners as vendors or distributors. They can earmark a certain part of their partnership for the Dalit youths. And here you will be developing those vendors as your partner firms rather than just as business relationships. Mark my words, we develop new vendors or new distributors. They will be your partners for ages. And if you are not so comfortable or you find that your forward linkages as well as the backward linkages both need specific technical dimension, or they need specific technical kind of a specific technology, and hence not anybody can become a vendor or distributor or supplier. And you can support the Dickey SME fund. You can park your money in the fund and provide an indirect support. For the skill development proposal, yes, you can become partner both in the front end side by becoming an employer for the people who will be benefiting from the Dalit skill development company, as well as you can partner and the company and become partner in the company. So that's it from my side.